My bad,
I appreciate you broke out the snap.
I mean, yeah, you know, coming on this nice show, this real true hip hop show. You don't want to have on pajamas, man. Right?
I get it.
I'm not gonna stand up then.
Right.
I'm comfy at home.
So, I think the way we start this off, let's talk about Rhode Island.
Wait. Hold on a second.
You know what I mean?
Hold on a second.
You got something?
No. We need to start this off with a big salute. Sheesh, Masta Ace in the building.
Appreciate you, man.
Yeah, appreciate you, man, for the the years and years of music, your contribution to the culture. I could speak for all of us and say that we're all huge fans. Have been following your career for decades now, and it's a beautiful thing to see that you're continuing to push things forward and do new things. But we'll dive into all of that after.
I appreciate it, man.
How are you?
I'm good, man. I'm actually good. I'm just at the crib, relaxing, and having a little dinner. That's why when I hit y'all back, I was like eight sharp. I was like, yeah, because I sat down with a plate of food. I was like, oh, I got to scarf this down real fast.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, if you still got a dessert, feel free to eat while we chop it up. It's all good.
All right. I mean, I might be chewing because I got a little bit left on my plate.
It's all good. It's all good.
Right.
You know what I mean? We don't got to worry about no rules or anything. You know, we just want to have a conversation.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, go ahead, fam. I know you got that question.
I'm just saying, I thought a nice way to start would be, let's talk about Rhode Island. I know this gentleman here knows a little something about Rhode Island. You've been over here in the books. You want to get into that a little bit? Some of your memories of that? You know?
Yeah, I first arrived on the campus of the University of Rhode Island in Kingston, or Kingstown, in the fall of 1984. And I didn't know anything about Rhode Island. I didn't know anything about the state. I learned that it was a small state. I didn't know anything. Like, I literally walked in, I didn't know what to expect. I stepped on the campus in 84, and throughout my years at URI, I got an opportunity to visit some of the neighboring towns. Like, we would go to Providence to go to, every now and then we go to a Brown University party in Providence. Been to Cranston, been to West Warwick, been to Newport, of course. Just bounced around, just checking out a little bit of the state and some of the neighboring cities. Usually it was with somebody who's from the state that I was hanging out with, and they would take me to different places. But I got to check out a little bit of Rhode Island while I was there 4 years.
You said the right town. You called out Cranston. You just won everything right there.
You completely missed Pawtucket.
Nah. Cranston is what's up, yo. Cranston, stand up. Let's get it.
You completely missed Pawtucket. You missed out. So
when I was in college, they told me that you have to pronounce it Cranston.
Yeah.
Oh,
got him.
You got him, yo.
If you didn't come to Pawtucket, then you missed out on all the Cape Verdean women.
I'm sure I was in Pawtucket as well.
Oh, for sure. So what brought you to URI? Like, what was what pulled you to even like apply and go there? You know what I'm saying? Like,
so when I was in I played football in high school, right? So when I was trying to figure out what college I wanted to go to, I learned at that time that there was a separation between Division I schools, which is the biggest colleges. And I kind of knew that I couldn't play at that level. Like, I wasn't big enough, I wasn't fast enough. I knew that. So I was like, well, what's the next level down? It's like, okay, well, 1AA. And so I applied to a bunch of different 1AA schools. One was in South Carolina. I applied for another one in like Tennessee, someplace in the South real far. And my mom was like, you applying all these schools real far away. If you end up at these schools, like you ain't gonna be able to come home on no 3-day weekends, nothing. You're gonna be stuck up there. And you should apply to something a little closer to New York. And so Rhode Island came up as one of the 1AA schools. And it was close to home. It was like a 3.5, 4-hour drive. So I applied there as well. But my mindset was on sports. And then secondary was my major. I wasn't really like I didn't really care as much about the academic part of it, which wasn't good, but I was coming in as a chemistry major. They had chemistry as a major, so I was like, okay, long as they got a football team, that's the level. And so I got accepted. Actually, this is crazy. I was cleaning out my garage the other day, and I have a bunch of different boxes with a bunch of different old things in it. Do you know that I found my URI acceptance letter?
It is.
The actual letter where they said we would like to welcome you as a student at URI. I found that letter, I showed my daughter because I was like, this is crazy right now. Here we are talking about it.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah. Did you end up playing ball?
So my first year, my mom said, I don't want you to play your first year. I want you to get acclimated to college. This is a whole new experience for you. Mm-hmm. Get comfortable with the classes, the school, the books, all of that. And then you can go out for the team. Because I was going to be a walk-on. I didn't get a scholarship offer or nothing like that. Mm-hmm. So she was like, after your freshman year, then you can, go out for the team. And so I took that year off. So it was a year off of no working out, no running, no nothing. And football is the kind of sport where you really have to stay in it consistently. You got to continuously be working out, running, conditioning, everything. Taking that year off, when I came back my sophomore year, I didn't feel it anymore. I wasn't excited about it. And plus I got a sense of what the sports culture was at the school, and it wasn't like high school. Dudes was not friendly. Like guys on the same team were didn't like each other, and it wasn't that family vibe. Yeah. Every man, it was more like an every man for himself kind of thing. And I saw a little bit of that, and I was like, this is not what I was looking for. I wanted something that was tight knit, close. Everybody was camaraderie, and we played the same position, but we boys, and I didn't see any of that. And so I was online sophomore year online to pick up my equipment along with a bunch of other kids walking on. And I was on the line, and I was sitting there, and I was talking to myself, and I was like, I'm not really feeling this. And there was probably 3-4 people in front of me, and I just got off the line and went back to my dorm and never played football again.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. How was like your years in URI? Like, you know what I mean? Like, what was like the climate like?
Party Central.
Well, not for me.
I think it was right before. That was right before, because shortly after, probably like between 5 and 10 years after your time there, URI was like the #1 party school in the nation.
Well, don't get me wrong. There was tons of parties going on. I just wasn't partaking because I wasn't really into the frat life. Yeah. My first year there was a little bit culture shock. I felt a little out of place. There really weren't that many Black students on the campus in '84. And the few Black students that were on campus were athletes. They were either basketball, football, track. I was one of the only Black students that didn't play sports. And, that first year was I was telling my mom, like, I think I want to transfer. Like, I don't know if I want to stay. And she said, well, when you go back for your sophomore year, if you still feel that way after first semester sophomore year, then we'll talk about you transferring. Because I wanted to transfer to Howard. I wanted to go someplace where I could see students that look like me. So I was like, I'm ready to get up out of here. And then that first semester sophomore year, there's a program at URI called Talent Development, TD, which I didn't know anything about. But apparently Talent Development was a program that recruited kids of color from around the state of Rhode Island and gives them an opportunity to go to the local colleges, the state colleges. And so that sophomore year, I think they brought in 40 or 50 students, Black students from around the state. And at that point, I felt a little bit more at home. I saw familiar faces, not familiar faces, but I saw faces that looked like mine. And I just socially, it was a better feel for me than that first year. And so I wound up staying for the 4 years and enjoyed myself.
Word. That's what's up.
Yeah. So my daughter Veronica is actually she's at URI right now. Well, not right now, but she's enrolled in URI. So
okay.
So salute to URI, yo.
I transferred to URI after 2 years in Boston College, and that was crazy because all of my friends were like went through TD. I went to a similar program called OTE at Boston College, and I graduated in '95.
Okay.
And ended up at BC. And like when I went to BC, like same thing with a culture shock. And like I had no clue we were poor until I got to BC. You know what I'm saying? I had no clue at all. I was just like, damn, I had no idea. And then a tuition hike happened. I ended up having a transfer. Yeah. So I'm wondering if Frank Santos was at URI at the time, who was like the senior admissions guy, who was one of the founding folks who. He was a real cool cat, Chico Santos. I don't know if that name rings a bell.
I don't recall the people that like ran the program. Yeah. I knew the kids that were in it though.
Yeah,
a lot of the kids.
Yeah, but that's cool, man. You still have any ties to Rhode Island? Any like folks that you still keep in touch with, or
actually, yeah,
Matt?
Actually, yeah. I just actually was on a call. Last what was it? Last week. I was on a Zoom call with a bunch of URI guys. Well, not just URI guys, but a bunch of guys from URI and guys that went to Rick as well. And a bunch of them, like one guy in particular, his name is DJ Finesse from Providence.
Yeah, Scott.
Yes.
Yeah, Scott, yeah. I met Scott my senior year. Scott was a freshman. He gravitated to me. He wanted to know everything he could know about this hip hop stuff. Like, what is it? Because I kind of already on campus, I was known as a rapper because I would go up to WRIU and rhyme up there. I would help out at the radio station. I would do little promos and stuff like that. And then that senior year, the year before, I had started recording some demos with Marley Marl. And so I would like bring some of my demos back to school, and I would play them for dudes. And so, it was a little, people knew about me as far as on the rhyming stuff on campus. I wasn't like a celebrity or nothing like that, but people knew that I rhymed. And so he heard about it and just really gravitated. He wanted to know everything he could know. This is before he even discovered DJing. He just wanted to know all he could know. And that year that I graduated in '88, he stayed in touch with me and actually made trips back and forth from Rhode Island to New York. I would take him around New York and took him to a couple of record shops, downtown Brooklyn, showed him the Albee Square Mall, and he bought records. And little did I know, I had this huge impact on him going into the DJ route. And so he tells me about this as grown men. I'm like, bro, I had no idea. I'm just like, yo, come. I'm taking him to parties and all that, not knowing that it was really impacting him like that.
Let me tell you, man. So Scotty's a good friend of mine, and he holds you in such high regard, man. There's been so many conversations that we've had, and your name has been brought up over decades, man, and conversation. He just has the utmost respect for you. And
same here.
He's that dude, you know what I mean? So yeah, big up to DJ Finesse, man, Rhode Island legends.
Salute.
Absolutely.
Sure, still doing it too,
Salute.
Man. He's still finding ways to provide opportunities for other people, man, to like advance themselves. So big up to Finesse.
All right. I got a thunderstorm going over the crib, so I don't know if my connection
it's getting crazy,
bugging out a little bit. But I'm about to go in real quick.
Is that a Cold Chillin' shirt?
I'm still chilling.
Still chilling. That's dope.
I'm still chilling.
I like that better anyway.
Right. Well, because that's the point of this whole thing here. Like I want to get to this, right? But we got to start here. Okay. We got to start here. So legend has it, at least this is how it got to me, that you won some type of battle to get the attention of Marley Marl. Is that true?
That's true, yeah. Sophomore year at URI, I was home for Christmas break. my boy called me up. He said, yo, they're having a rap contest down at United Skates of America skating rink out in Queens.
Okay.
I met him on the train, went out there, entered the contest. I had never been on stage by myself. I was only on stage with crews. Like we had some talent shows in high school. It was always 5, 6 of us on stage rhyming. I had never been on stage by myself. Wrote these rhymes. I had a rhyme that I kind of had memorized or whatever, but I wrote a little something, you know, on the way out there, and I planned to say these rhymes, and got on stage and wowed the crowd with these punchlines. And I told a story. It was actually fashioned after Slick Rick Lottie Dottie.
Okay.
In terms of like how the story was. I'm telling a story about me and a girl, and then this, you know, surprise ending, and it was like a little racy, a little sexual innuendo type stuff. And so up to the point that I got on stage, everybody was just, I'm the most vicious, the rapper, the shit. Like everybody was rhyming about being dope and vicious and the best. And here I come with just a story rhyme, you know, a fun story, you know, rhyme. And just wowed the crowd. And I wound up winning the contest. And first prize was 6 hours of studio time with Marley.
Do you so is Letter to the Better or Simon Says, like, do you remember what you recorded with him first?
None of that, actually. I recorded a joint called Power Move.
Okay.
Just to bring it all the way back to Rhode Island again, my senior year, there was like a talent show they had on campus at the Memorial Union, and DJ Finesse, he was one of my dancers, and I performed the song Power Move, which I didn't remember. He told me about it. I was like, damn, I did Power Move, because I was trying to figure out what, I didn't have any songs out, so I'm like, what did I perform? He's like, you did Power Move. You don't remember that? And I was like, wow, that song never came out. It was a demo. Yeah. That I recorded with Marley and performed it on stage at URI, and Finesse was one of my dancers.
Oh, that's
I'm sure
crazy.
he played it on BLS or something, but
if he played it, it was like one time.
I got everything, but I don't have it.
You don't have it?
I don't have it. I like to hear it though.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, me too.
You remember it?
You know?
Not at all. Not at all.
Right. Let's say we could redo it. Yeah. Okay.
Yo, hold on a second. Before we jump to the next question, my phone was just blowing up. I'm like, what the hell's going on? So apparently, Cam Newton just signed a 1-year deal with my New England Patriots.
Yeah, I heard, my boy told me right before we got on. I didn't know if it was I didn't know if it was official though. It's official.
It's official. It's official.
What are they gonna do with him though?
Win.
That's up to Bill. That's up to Bill.
We're gonna win.
He must be changing the offense then.
He's gonna have to.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's crazy, man. The Patriots always have, you know, it's always like political. So I don't know what's going on. But
we shall see.
Yeah, we'll see.
We'll figure it out. So as far as all this goes, so I just want to clear some stuff up. So was Biz just not there and you was just starting to, you know, what if he was here kind of thing? No,
so it was supposed to be a duet with me and the Biz, kind of like Kane's duet. And so I wrote Biz's part and I wrote my part because I talked to Kane before all of this, and he said, yeah, I'll write Biz's part and I spit it, and then he listens to it a bunch of times, memorizes it, and then he comes in the studio and lays it down. I said, cool. So I wrote the song, I laid my parts, and then I went back and I laid his parts, but I said, I need to change my voice so that when he hears his parts, he'll know he's right, because we would go like back to back.
Right.
It was seamless. It was like I would rhyme and then he would come right in on the next line. So I said, the only way he's gonna know his parts is if I change my voice, so he'll know, okay, now I'm rhyming. This is my turn. Part. Right. So I went in and I recorded it that way, and then I played it for him. You know, this is the song I want you to be on or whatever. And he was like, you know, I'm down to do it, but we got to record it at my crib. I'm not coming to Marley crib. And because him and Marley they were in the middle of a little bit of a feud over whatever credit or production credits or whatever. They were having a little. I didn't want to be involved. I just wanted my song, and so I went to Marley and I was like, Biz said he'll do it, but he wants me to bring the reels, the tape reels to his studio. And Marley was like, no way. Them tapes are not leaving this crib. So he said, let's just leave it how it is. Let's just leave it the way it is. Anybody ever did nothing like that. Let's leave it how it is. And he left
cool
the
with
song.
that?
I don't know if I was cool. I didn't really buy it, but remember, I'm brand new. I'm first album.
I bought it.
First album. I'm not trying to really, ruffle no feathers or,
I understand all that.
I just went with the flow because I'm learning. I didn't know any better.
Right. Well, I want to say one thing about just out the gate. It's apparent that you are a critical thinker. You're observant. It's right in the title. And I'm like 15, 16 years old, and I could relate to the way, even though the situations are different, but I could relate to the way you would kind of analyze your environment. So you had me right here. Plus, with Marley on the background and all that.
Yeah.
I feel like it would be an injustice to not talk about the symphony. But what do you remember about that day? Was the beat already there? I know you guys went to the photo shoot. Shan didn't want to come back because,
Shan was being Shan.
Be on it. Right.
Yeah, Shan was being Shan. He was like, nah, I ain't messing with that. And he left. And
Did you really set it off?
I wasn't supposed to be on the song at all.
Oof.
I wasn't supposed to be on the song at all. The only reason I was even there, partly because I was being nosy, because that day was my first time being around Kane. I had been around G-Rap and I had been around Craig, but I met Kane that day for the first time. And so when Marley said that they were going to his crib to record one more song for his album, I wanted to hear these rhymes. Like I wanted to be like the hot off the presses, hear these rhymes that Kane was going to say.
Right.
So Craig needed a ride over. I was driving. So Marley was driving, I was driving. So I followed Marley back to the crib. Craig was in my car. When we got there, he's playing the beat and G-Rap and Kane were writing their rhymes. It was supposed to be a duet at first. It was supposed to just be G-Rap and Kane, period. It was Marley's idea, kind of the day of. He kind of sprung it on them. Yo, y'all mind if Craig did on the joint? And maybe I think he might have pitched, did they mind if Sham was on the song? And they were like, all right, cool, whatever. And then Sham pulled what he pulled. So Marley was like, yo, Shan ain't coming. So how about I throw Craig on? And they will kind of like look. I'm sure I don't know what their exact reaction, but I've heard a few interviews, and it was kind of like, "Yo, this was supposed to be a duet, me and you." Now all of a sudden he turned. All right, Craig, cool though. We know Craig. All right, no problem. Put Craig on it. No problem. So the three of them were writing their rhymes, and it came time to spit, and he's like,
nobody want to go first.
Nobody wanted to go first. It was all this back. You go first. Now you go first.
Right.
So Marley looks over at me and is like, yo, Ace, you got a little, like a verse you could just like lay down? Like these guys acting scared. Like spit something real quick. Like let these guys get loosen up.
Right.
I got a rhyme. I always kept, rhymes in the memory.
Yeah.
So I spit a rhyme that I had memorized or whatever already. And I don't think there was any intention on keeping me on the song. It was just a way to kind of like warm those guys up and get them in the booth.
But you got them.
But then after they heard it, this is what happened. So when I went in the booth and started rhyming, Kane and G-Rap left and went to the quote unquote went to the store.
Right.
But where they really went was to talk about, yo, so Marley putting this new dude on the song. Like we didn't even want Craig on the song. Like he forcing Craig on us now. Throwing this new dude, what's going on? So they like, talking shit on the way to the store and come back. They come back, and Craig had already laid his rhyme too. Now they listening to my rhyme and Craig rhyme.
Right.
And I found all of this out years later after listening to some Kane interviews. He kind of like nudges G-Rap. It's like, yo, this glasses is kind of dope, yo. they were calling me glasses because I had frames or whatever.
Right.
He's like, yo, glasses is kind of high. He kind of might be even a little better than Craig on this joint. So I got the stamp of approval from Kane and G-Rap that I was cool to stay on the song, which, I had no idea.
You told them, no, listen closely. So your attention's undivided. You got them,
will that album, will it ever be available on
like
Spotify
and whatnot?
Because like I need that album in my life. Like I played that album as a teenager nonstop forever. It's my favorite album. Is there a chance it'll ever appear on a platform?
There is a chance. This year, in the fall, will be 30 years since that album came out, and once a record hits the 30-year marker, the artist can retain those rights to that album. Yeah. And so I'm at 30 years, and so my plan at this fall is to send a letter, a legal document to Warner Brothers, letting them know that I would like to retain the rights to that album, because they don't even put it out. Like they're literally just sitting on it. Like they don't want the videos on YouTube, nothing. Like they have everything shut down. And so I'm about to hit 30-year mark, and I'm gonna make moves towards getting that record so that I can press it up on vinyl, on CD myself, so that it can be available, and digitally as well, so it can be available to people, because it's ridiculous.
Right.
I need that album.
I got the tapes, but like I don't have the vinyl for Take a Look Around. I'd love that. Can we skip just a little bit? I assume at some point with Warner Brothers, there was some things going on. And then we got to this point. So you jumped over to Delicious Vinyl.
Yeah.
Right? So now you're on the West. And the thing about this album is you think about 93 and what was the most popular things that were going on. And I completely understood this album. I felt the same way. Like, man, what are we doing with this music? You know what I mean?
Everybody didn't get it, though.
Everybody didn't get it. So and one thing we could tie in with that whole thing was the Gravediggers thing. The Gravediggers was the Tommy Boy careers. You know what I mean? It wasn't supposed to be scary. So were the folks at Delicious Vinyl treating you like that at that time? Like, let's do some horrorcore shit. Like I can't remember what came out first. Yeah. No,
not at all. That album was totally my creation. They didn't know what I was going to give them. They gave me creative freedom. They were in LA. I recorded that album in Brooklyn. So they actually flew my A&R, my guy Orlando again. He flew out to Brooklyn like when I was about halfway through the album, just to hear the songs. And he said, because he wanted to hear what I had, and I started playing them the joints. And he got it. He was into it. He got it. He's actually his voice is actually on one of the songs on that album, this joint called Big East. I performed in the booth, and he said he the one who said, don't even think about tripping coming from the Big East. He's the one who said, don't even think about
messing up a little bit.
Okay. Well, okay. Yeah, that was on that album, the whole concept of that album and what I was trying to do on that album, they allowed me to just do me on that record.
Yeah. And to this day, Saturday Night Live, something else. I just want to get to the point, man. I don't want to rush past these. These all seem to have come out at like little pivotal points in my growth as I'm coming up, and it seemed like your records always kind of landed at the right moment for me. And, so I'm sure Delicious Vinyl was happy when you put this out. This was good for, or good for that label.
Yeah, they
did well on the West, right?
Delicious Vinyl had a lot of influence on me making that record. Because before I did that album, I did a remix for Jeep Ass Nigga, the single you did. I did a remix for that. I flipped a different beat and I called it Born to Roll. Yep. And lo and behold, the song blows up on radio. It blows up. The video blew up, and all of a sudden it became like this culture record that, this car culture record that just took over around the U.S. I was getting the most radio play that I ever got as in my career up to that point. Record was on every station.
Beautiful.
I was in heavy rotation for the first time. So that was a big deal. So Delicious Vinyl was like, yo, man, this Born to Roll thing is really like taking off. Like, your next album, you really need to like, these car culture people really love you. Like the Mexicans down here in LA, they love you. Like you need to really give them an album that, that feeds into that love for cars. So I came up with Sitting on Chrome, and that was the record that I call that my compromise album, because If Delicious Vinyl wouldn't have said, if they would have just kept their mouths shut, my third album probably might not have been that. It wouldn't have been titled that. It wouldn't have sounded like that. It would have been something totally different. But you know, I respected the fact that they had success with, you know, some big artists. They went platinum with Tone Loc. They went platinum with Young MC. You know, Brand New Heavies was gold. So I'm like, okay, they know what they're doing. I'm gonna give them this record. Let's see if they can give me a plaque out the deal. So I gave them the record that they wanted. You know, we had the Sitting on Chrome was a single. INC Ride was the first single, which was a big radio record, huge radio record.
Big record.
Huge radio record.
You can't see it actually. My bad.
Yeah, that was the most. That was the most spins I ever got on any of my records.
And then we had a little gap, and then we get over here.
That was a big gap. Big gap.
Hey, did you expect that, Ace? Like when you were like working on those records, did you expect like those records to blow like that? And like, what was like the influence? You know what I'm saying? Like it's hard to say. Yeah,
it's hard to say if I expected it or not, but I feel like I had a good ear for what could work or what people would like to listen to. Because remember, this record came out, you know, right after the Chronic was like the big. Everybody was bumping the Chronic, so that was like these really, you know, shiny sounding, radio friendly, really nice sounding records that had an edge. And so I was trying to find my way in that zone. Like, how can I get down with this vibe? People. So I tried to create records that I thought would work in that space.
Word. They work.
Yeah, man.
They work for some.
Yeah,
they work for some.
They worked. Well, you said it right. Like it was a specific culture record, right? And that was it wasn't isolated to one region. You know what I'm saying? Like I remember New York didn't get it though. I loved it. I remember being young out here, like here in Rhode Island, and you know, like cars with like beat. There would be like battles where, you know what I'm saying, cats would meet up in like McDonald's parking lots to see who had the loudest speakers. For real. And you know what I mean? Like your music was a soundtrack for that era. I remember like clearly, you know, my older cousins, my cousin Vic and all of them. That was like it was you know.
Sidebar, big. I was with Marley. I was with Marley when he was mixing LL Cool J's Booming System. And I just watched, I asked questions and I learned, and I wanted to know how he got this certain sound. He gave me a few pointers, and I took what I learned from Marley and I took that to Born to Roll and all those bass records.
Word, that's fantastic. So can we call this kind of like the reset?
That was definitely a reset.
That was the time going on, because I think everything up to what you're doing now, even with Marco Polo, kind of stems from right here.
Absolutely.
You know, I feel like you're
two separate careers. Two separate careers.
That's the reset. Yep. And your storytelling, it really came up here at this point, as far as the skits go, and having every album, you know, tell a story. It stands on its own. And as you're piecing them together, you know, as a consumer, as a fan of all that, you're getting all these pictures of your life. You know what I mean?
Yep.
I thought this came at the right time. The Good Old Love, like, ooh, that was
fire.
Shout to Ninth Wonder.
Fire.
Right. Yeah, he got you good on that one. And then, but I kind of want to get at, so you got these couple records going, and then you're touring, and at some point later on, you formed a super group with EMC, and you're traveling, you're going to Europe. You want to talk about Europe a little bit?
Yeah, Europe started for me in 2000. Like I'd been over there, like a little one show here, one show there, but no extensive tours until 2000. And then I dropped Disposable Arts in 2001. And since 2000, from 2001 to today, so we're talking about 19 years, I've been back and forth to Europe countless times, countless tours, huge tours, 26 shows in 30 days kind of tours.
Right.
And I've been doing that consistently for 19 years. So that's why I say it's really a tale of two careers. My first career was my first career was those three albums that you held up first, and then there was 5 years, about a 4.5, 5 year gap before I dropped Disposable in 01. And that was the reset for me. And that album, that's my most important album, because that album, basically that album single-handedly extended my career for the last 19 years. Without that album, I'm not talking to you guys right now.
I understand that. And let's talk about your health real quick. I know you've been careful about what you're doing. I want to talk just the fact that this is so strong. This album is so strong, and I don't know how you get to this point. You talk about all your contemporaries.
Yeah.
No disrespect to any legend, man, but nobody is putting out fire like this at the level that you're doing this. Do you think going on tour, maybe, the way you're eating over there, did it get you eating right? You think it leads to you having energy to keep going? Does that make any sense to you? Is that?
It's not that. It's really not that. It's
okay.
I feel, and we're gonna bring it back to football for a second. I've always felt in my career, for the entire length of my career, I felt like Tom Brady that year he got drafted when he was like the 8th quarterback pick or the 9th quarterback pick. He came in the super late rounds or whatever.
Super 8th round. Yeah.
He made it his business to prove to the league that they made a mistake on him, that they overlooked him. Mm-hmm. And so every time I drop a record, every time I record a record, I'm walking into the booth with that Brady mentality. Like, I'm gonna show dudes, like, y'all slept on me. I'm underrated. Nobody talks about me. I'm not in nobody's top 50 or top 100. I see these lists coming out. My name's never on any of them. So I take that energy and I internalize it, and it fuels me to write the rhymes that I write and create the songs that I create.
When you're going into to record a record or a song, what's your process like? Do you like go in with the focus to complete like a full project, or do you build songs and then I'm gonna put this as one collective? I'm just curious about that.
I'll write so with the Brooklyn album, I had a bunch of beats from Marco. I was sitting on those beats for a long time. I would drive around listening to them. And I would just wait for inspiration. I would wait for something to speak to me. Mm-hmm. And so the Brooklyn record was a song that I had, a beat that I had for a long time. But I was like, well, I don't know, what am I going to rhyme to? What am I going to say about this on this beat? Mm-hmm. And I always just let the beat lead me. The beat, whatever the emotion of the beat is, I just try to find that pocket of emotion and then figure out what words should be said to this beat. What is this music saying to me? What is it communicating to me? And that's really my process. I live with the music. I sit down, I let it play over and over again. I mumble like a cadence, a pattern. Okay, I don't know what these words are, but I feel like this is the bounce. I'm gonna say da 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 da, and then once I get that cadence down, then I try to figure out what are the words that go in those da 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 da. What's that? What is that? What is that? And I really, it all comes from, it's all inspired, man. It comes from someplace. I don't know where it comes from, but it comes from someplace. I don't take credit for it, because a lot of times I wake up in the middle of the night, I have these brilliant ideas. I don't know where they came from, but I just try to, remember them when I wake up in the morning. And I've lost a few ideas like that, where I wake up and like, damn, 3 a.m. I had this dope ass idea. I had the whole rhyme, everything, and now I don't remember. I've been known to keep a pen and pad next to the bed where I can wake up and write, but now I have a phone, so I open up a memo, write something down, get a couple lines down, and put the phone back, go back to sleep. Cool thing about having people working with you that are that can be, objective and give you the real. Not, you don't need a room full of yes men.
Word.
You need people that working with Marco is great because he respects my opinion and thoughts and process, and I'll do a first take, right? And I'll be like, nah, that wasn't it. And he'll say, I don't know, Ace, I'm gonna save that one. Mm-hmm. and then I'll do 20 more takes.
Right.
And none of them are really quite it. And he go, yo, let's listen back to that. Let's listen back to that first take. And I'll be like, all right, you got it.
That's
right.
that fire.
Yeah.
Word.
You know, I'm not a huge trap fan, but I have found trap records that I can listen to and can understand. And not that I want to rhyme like that, but it helps me to keep my mind open to, because some of these guys, they do some weird stuff, but somewhere in with, I don't even know if they're doing it on purpose, but they're like freaking these new cadences and flows. Maybe just because they're not, you know, trained enough, but something in what they're doing feels different and kind of cool and a different bounce than what other dudes are doing. So I really just continue to be a fan and continue to listen to music. You know, when I'm on tour, I'm always touring. I'm with like Wordsworth, I'm with my man Strickland, guys like that, and they're always you'll listen to this. They've always putting stuff in. We're in the van for 6 hours. They'll put on a bunch of new records that I never heard before, and I'll be like, "Yo, what's that? Who's that? Oh, that's such and such. Oh, play that again." And I'm just always paying attention and listening and trying to soak in as much as I can, because all of that stuff helps to kind of stir this pot in my head of soup that I'm, you know, creatively trying to figure out where to go next. You know, I don't want to be stale. I don't want to be stuck on, you know, one thing or one way of thinking or one way of rhyming. Just continue to be open to the ideas of all the possibilities that creatively can be done.